Hey guys, it's xBundok here. Today we're gonna have some fun and play with something brand new. So some of my old Master Series paints are getting to the point that, you know, even with them being thoroughly tried and mixed, they're just too separated to really have great fluidity, or I'm just generally running out of them. I knew I could have gotten some Citadel or some Army Painter, but I really wanted to get one of the base sets of the Pro Acryl just to have some fun with. Everybody seems to love them. They are a bit pricier than the other types of paints, but I really just wanted to give them a go. I do enjoy Monument Hobby's washes, along with the Noosh for weathering. So this is the base set number 2, I think. So there you go. Pause if you want to see the full color listing. Just remember everything that's with them. But we're gonna crack it open today. We're gonna play with all of these. I have some small goblins primed for painting, and I'll be using only the colors that are included in this pack to try and get an effect on them, which isn't a problem. One thing I appreciated right out of the box from looking at these, I get 3 different kinds of white. I get browns, I get useful colors that are often run into, right? Even if I didn't have them, I have yellow, blue, green, red. I have my base, your base colors that you can mix. It's not like some packs where, you know, you'll get this mix of this rainbow of colors, but they're all mid-tones or mid-mixes, and you get no flat white or flat black. That's not the case with this pack. So that's number 1, the thing I already appreciate. Number 2 that I appreciate about Monument, which I brought up in a couple of live streams, the color name it's blue. Lighter blue is sky blue. It's not based off of something else in their system. So like Games Workshop, your Citadel paints are named after things that you're going to run into in Warhammer. You know, Army Painter is not as bad with it, but again, they get very creative with the names, which I understand and I can appreciate on their own accord. But if I'm painting, I just want something straight. Like I just want a straight color. So that's the other thing I like about these. So let's get set up. We're working at the table today just so we have a little bit more space, and we'll get the primer on these goblins dry and test out some Pro Acryl. Okay, so my approach for these figures is doing it the same as a beginner would. So with a lot of the Monument Hobbies videos I see promoting their paints, it's always just on a flat black prime. So that's what we're going to use. For our goblin skin tone, we're just doing flat green. I'm not going to mix any yellows or anything in to try and change it up. I'm going to do my best just to use the colors right out of the bottle so we get the full experience using the paint as is. So if a beginner just pulls the box off the shelf and goes at it, that's the result I'm trying to get. Overall, I think my skin tones, the greens here, I did 2 coats on pretty much every section. Some of them I did like a thin third one if it just didn't sit right. And that may have been my own fault just between the priming and, you know, different loads on the brush whenever I go to get more paint. So I did, I guess, rush the priming for these figures, unfortunately, but it was 19 degrees outside this morning, and with a spray can, you know, I didn't want to be out there too long. So you can see on this figure, not everything has the black the whole way through, and it ends up not being a problem at all. So that'll be the second thing I'll say I appreciate about this paint is it's just straightforward paint. I don't have to worry about some of them being contrast, some of them being speed paint, some of them being quick flow. Like, I can mix the medium things in with it, but the paint right out of the bottle is just the paint. It is not naturally opaque or transparent. It's just straight up what it is. So this is what he's looking like after just that green tone on there. And he looks good. I think the black base is definitely where I would want to go with. I don't think I would want to go with a full white. But of course we could see how that might change depending on what we're painting and how large the figure is. I'd say I am excited to go and use these on a larger figure than just these gnomes because, I mean, as you can see, just to scale next to my fingers, this isn't a very big miniature, which, again, that's an oxymoron, a big miniature, but I digress. So I feel like the white the colors would be very bright. Now I don't think that the black plays into it, the brightness of the paint, I mean, just because again, it's a very solid coat. But I'm sure it has at least a little bit of an effect on it. So that's what we're going to do for this guy. We'll just do flat green, reds, and then I'm going to use the three shades of brown that came in along with. So there's a light and dark umber, which I use for the, I guess, leather fixtures, and then there was a mahogany that came along that I do for the outer, I don't want to say skirt, but the outer piece above his rags, maybe, above his trousers. That's what I ended up using the mahogany for. So putting the two umbers next to each other on the holster and the leather pieces just kind of shows you the difference, the variance between a light and dark versus just a straight umber tone. So for his swords, I'm not going to go out and grab my metallics from something else. Like I said, I'm using only the paint that was in this kit. So I'm using the lighter gray that comes with it along with the white. I think it was titanium white. You'll have to rewind just a couple seconds to see and double check. But I'm going to be mixing those both on the palette and on the figure wet just to get a little bit of an effect there. So I think the third thing I appreciate about this set of paint is it doesn't dry quick on the palette. So while, you know, you're working on things and you guys realize once you turn the figure to a certain angle, you'll see that you missed a spot or something didn't have the same even coat as something else. So you can see while I'm painting up his little swords, I mean, I guess they're swords. They're a bit not so uniform, but anyway, you know, you're turning around the piece and you'll see, you know, underneath, if you were holding it at a certain angle, you missed a piece here or there. I mean, I spent maybe 2 hours painting this guy up, and then at the end, the green that we used off the first bit was still just fine on the palette. And I wasn't using a wet palette. I was just using my regular, you know, plastic paint palette that you use for acrylic paints or what have you, the one that's $1.99 from the craft store. So it's nice versus I know a lot of my army painter stuff. I mean, that'll be dry within 10-15 minutes on a regular palette just because of the nature of the paint. So another solid feature of these paints, they're quickly becoming a favorite just from a singular figure paint here. So here's our little goblin with only the flat colors on. I used just the standard ivory for his teeth and the same red that we used for his coat, for his eyes. And then next we're going to use the Pro Acryl black and brown washes to add some tones to it. So we're going to be doing the brown wash primarily on the green skin, and then a mixture of the brown and black on his clothing and accessories, and then black only on most of the browns, just because the brown wash is about the same tone as two of the paint colors, so I don't know how good of an effect it would have on its own. So we're going to be using the black for that. After that, I'm not going to do any sort of dry brushing or anything like that. I could have, you know, taken the base colors we had and lightened them up. But again, I kind of just wanted to use the paint as is. So after the washes, I go back and do just a little bit of edge highlighting with the same base color. And that just gives you a bit more variance in the different tonalities. It makes things pop, gives things a bit more separation from what's next to it on the figure. And so we'll just do, you know, the regular old speed up video of this wash, and then I'll have some pics at the end. So the pictures in the vise are after the wash is complete, before the edge highlighting, and then the pictures outside the vise are after, like I said, just a little bit of highlighting that's done, just to try and make the figure pop a bit more. So all in all, I think the Monument Hobbies paints might be my next addition to my shelf. I can't wait to do a larger piece and just let you guys know how I feel about it. But I mean, the fluidity of the paint, the actual opacity of it, and the pigmenting of it, pigmentation, I mean, it's stellar. It's definitely not on the beginner's price range for paints. However, I think it would be an excellent addition to anyone's inventory, even if it's just a couple of their frequently used colors or favorite colors. But let me know in the comments, have you guys used their stuff? Do you have any preferences one way or the other? Let me know if you prefer something like that, or if you do prefer something like the speed paints or the contrast paints from Citadel. As always, thank you for watching. Subscribe if you want to come back for more, and take care.